I'm strongly believe that to serve cacao and to call it ceremony, we need to decolonize it, and we need to take away all the ingredients from the blends. We need to take away the agave, we need to take away the tahini, we need to take away all the things that we're adding to it so that it will be palatable and more delightful. Because cacao is not here to serve that. Cacao is here to remind us of the bitter sweetness of life, to remind us that it's important to grieve and to be in the difficult just as much as we celebrate. It's like the whole human spectrum experience.
That was Dia from Cacao Amor, and this is episode 80.
Welcome to the Brave Woman Podcast. I'm your host, Tanya Lynn, founder of Sistership Circle and author of Open Your Heart and The Art of Leading Circle. I'm the mother of 2 girls, an 8 on the Enneagram, aka the Challenger, happily married to my business partner, Brent, love connecting with nature, and have put in well over 10,000 hours circling with other women. On this podcast, we will explore how to embody the brave woman so that you can take action on your dreams and desires, unapologetically speak your truth, and live life on your own terms. Grab a seat and a cup of tea, and let's get started.
Hello, everyone. I've got our magical, beautiful cacao sorceress here with me today, Dia from Cacao Amor. Welcome, sister. I'm so excited for you to be here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Such an honor to be here. Yes, wonderful.
Yeah, when we met, it was just a few months ago. I mean, I came across you on Instagram, of course, and I said, this woman, I need to meet. I need to bring her to Sistership Circle. And then we led a beautiful ceremony for the women. And you have so much wisdom to offer, and I just love everything that you're doing. And I'd love for us to just start today with your story of how you got on this path of offering cacao to the world. I mean, really, that's what you're doing. You're offering the medicine of cacao to the entire world. Yeah, tell us how you got here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, and oh, I feel so nice to hear you speak of me, of Dai in that way. So thank you very much. Um, yeah, I was born in the same land as cacao themselves. I was born in Ecuador, and cacao, we believe, is to have birth there as well. The location of Ecuador is that it is said they call it the chakra of the heart chakra of the world. So the location of Ecuador in our planet is a place of very unique ecosystems and very unique landscape of different heights, and also coast and jungles and fresh water and volcanoes and rainforest and dry forest. So it's a place where the biodiversity is huge. And so from this place, thousands, hundreds of thousands of years ago, it's believed that a lot of the plants of our planet have come from. And it's, not curious that then we say that like per square meter, there's more biodiversity in places like Ecuador than anywhere else in the globe, and other places in the planet that are close to that. So anyway, Ecuador being the land of cacao, I was born there, and I was, it's interesting that I will use this word, I was privileged enough or lucky enough to have been born in a time where we still got raw milk from the farmers that will deliver to the city, because I was born in the capital city of Ecuador, in Quito, and grandma would go to the market to get the food from the farmers themselves, from the women, from the people that would be the farmers, and she would get always like the cacao paste from a specific abuela that she liked, and so that's the cacao she would make us. So I had few years as a child of drinking proper raw cacao, and to me it was just I'm not, like a staple thing, like it's in our diet, is what we do, is what we eat. We have it every day. We have it sometimes in the morning and sometimes in the evening, sometimes just one of them, but and it was for different ailments, hot cacao had always been for like, oh, you're sad, have a cup of cacao. Oh, we need to talk about something, let's have a cup of cacao, you know? So it was always in my childhood. And then I moved, then things started to change a bit. So like industry got a bit more, I would say more commercial, right? Like TV, because when I was a kid, we only just started having TVs, and I like to think, I'm from the 80s, so it's not that long ago, but we didn't have mobile phones, and we had TV, and advertising was a new thing. And I remember this advert on the TV of Milo. Have you heard of Milo? Do you have it in the US? Or Milo?
No.
It's like Milo is a quick chocolate powder for the housewife or that hasn't got time to make their kids a quick hot chocolate, It has already the powdered milk in it and the sugar and cocoa powder, which is obviously not as full as the cacao paste. So kind of society started to go in that way. Some people, for faster. So that was sort of like a thing that got introduced as I left Ecuador. I moved to the UK when I was in my late teens to come and study here. I wanted to be a documentary maker, and my stepmama is from here, so it made sense to move with my dad and their family to the UK. Many years passed. I studied film. I was really into Latin America and their culture, of course, being from there, but having not had lived there for nearly a decade. And I had always been really into the Mayans and the calendar and the Incas and their calendar, and like sort of like I was kind of seeing it from a Western perspective, having been in the UK for so long. So anyway, I decided to go to Mexico to find out what this end of the Mayan calendar was really all about. And to document myself doing this, This is like right at the beginning of Instagram. And I was still using a camera that needed editing. Like I couldn't film with my phone. So I decided to make this documentary, and I went to Palenque, and maybe the third or fourth day of being there and speaking to different people that were celebrating this time differently and learning that actually it wasn't the end of a calendar, so and such, not the end of the world. And anyway, interviewing people, this couple arrived to the place where I was staying to offer a cacao blessing for everybody there. And I was like, oh, cacao blessing, what is a cacao blessing? I grew up drinking it, but what is it? And so it was Gustavo from Colombia and Gustavo from Mexico and Paola from Colombia, and they had been sharing cacao for some years. Sort of similar stories to me, but they had stayed. Gustavo had started with the huicholes, he was his grandmother was of that lineage, so he had started with the huicholes and peyote and other plant medicines, and sort of started using cacao as well. And Paola was his partner, so she was sharing cacao. And so also happened that they had been traveling with Mayan elders and knew about the calendar, so their ceremony had a blessing of the Mayan calendar. It was all quite serendipitous. And I participated in that ceremony. I got permission to film it, which is very unusual, but I couldn't do anything with the footage other than give them a video of the ceremony. So that was quite a beautiful thing as well. And in that ceremony, I felt cacao like I hadn't before, or I felt cacao experience themselves through me in a way that I hadn't before. So I felt cacao come into my body and drop into my heart and help me drop into my heart and help me experience that feeling of compassionate love, where the way that I can describe it now, it's like my mind was free of judgment, and my being was just so grateful to have this body, and so just grateful to have this body. And I remember looking around and being like, everyone is so unique, and we all have the same emotions and feelings, and I felt so connected with everyone, and I felt like I'm so intrigued by cacao and what is this feeling that I'm having. Like if I was in some, what did I take? Is this cacao? Like what is this amazing substance that I hadn't experienced that I did before? That later on I realized that actually as a child it really helped with my mental health. I had like most people living in capital cities of not much financial income, it's a tough life. Like for humanity, humanity is a bit crazy. Like we live in cities, we're cut off from the natural environment. And I feel like cacao really helped me as a child to stay positive and to stay in a place of always finding the the positive things and the nourishment that my brain needed also to go through um, whatever was happening in my life as a child. Um, but this ceremony was a realization of like an embodiment of compassionate love. And then the editing of the video of this ceremony was my integration time for the life that I was leaving behind, because I decided not to go back to Europe, and I decided to stay in Mexico and learn more about my heritage of Abya Yala, like the history of Mexico, and maybe go back to Ecuador if that was to be. But I was really into like, okay, I want to learn more about cacao and cacao here in these lands, because at that time we believed that cacao and cacao ceremonies came from Guatemala and from Mexico, right? So it felt fair for me to stay there. And so that's what happened. And this was in 2012.
Yeah, well, the end of the Mayan calendar. And so, so there is this thought, right? I think this is the mainstream thought that it comes from Guatemala and Mexico, but in fact, it's coming from Ecuador. And so what you did then is go back to Ecuador, right? And create relationships with the farmers. And now you actually distribute cacao, ceremonial grade cacao. So first of all, let's start with what is ceremonial grade cacao as opposed to a chocolate bar or some of the other forms of chocolate out there. Why do we care about ceremonial grade?
Yeah, thank you, Tanya. Hi, we're having quite a big debate in the cacao and holistic world about what is ceremonial cacao, where does the term come from, who coined it, who started using it, and we have this character, the cacao shaman, Keith Wilson, if I'm correct, an American guy that came to Guatemala following his love of cacao and met indigenous people who had a prophecy that a white man will come and help bring cacao into the world. So that was with Keith, who sort of like started to sell a cacao outside of Guatemala named ceremonial cacao.
And I've heard of Keith's cacao. I've tried it. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't realize that he's like the man who the white man who brought it forth. Okay.
That is it. And so for what did he define as ceremonial cacao, from what people have told me, because I didn't get the pleasure, the honor to meet him in person, but from what people have said to me, and what he says on his website, is that ceremonial cacao is a cacao that is blessed for the intention of healing and done with that intention. So according to him, that's ceremonial cacao. Now I've speaking to taitas and nanas, so with elders from Central and South America, so from all the lands of Abya Yala, ceremonial cacao is a cacao that is endemic to the land where it grows. So it's been growing there for some time. So even though, okay, the first seed it started in Ecuador, we're talking 7,000, 8,000, 10,000 years ago, So to say that cacao actually comes from Ecuador and doesn't come to Guatemala, it's sort of like at this point, is not so important. It's not about where was cacao birthed, but the realization that it's been with humanity for 10,000 years at least, and it has evolved with us, and it has been part of all of our cultures in these lands for a long time. And so for the abuelos and abuelas, for our elders, for them it was always passed off cacao. They didn't have to put the word ceremonial to it, because to them it was the prayer. The trees always had an importance, like also all the other fruit trees that they all had their place and their purpose. And the purpose of cacao was always it was like the tree of life. It is the tree of life. So it's a tree that gives us substance with its fruit. The leaves can be used also for different ailments like headaches and aches. The bark of the tree is also medicinal. So the whole tree It's medicinal. I forgot what the question was. I went on a little rant there about the tree being
No,
medicinal, and all of a sudden I'm in Ecuador and I forgot what the question was.
yeah,
Sorry.
no, like ceremonial grade cacao,
Yeah,
and
what
that
is ceremonial grade? Yeah.
the people in Ecuador, the indigenous people, they didn't need to call it ceremonial grade because it was already ceremony for them, because they already
Exactly.
saw that this tree and
Uh-huh.
its fruits
Uh-huh.
were medicine. So
Uh-huh.
if Keith is saying it's healing, like that's what makes it, like we bless it and this is a healing medicine, the people already knew that.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
But if we think about it, chocolate was created, right? Cacao left Central and South America and went to Europe, and it was bitter, it was intense, it was thick,
Mm.
and the Europeans' palate wasn't agreeable to it. So they decided to do a whole processing of it, extracting all its medicinal powers. I don't think on purpose. They just simply didn't know. They were ignorant of the
Just didn't know.
medicinal and spiritual properties of cacao, and they wanted to make a delicacy, something that tasted nice, rather than a medicine. Even though they did for a moment use that as medicine, but they did that with most of the things. I don't know. But so what do we define now as a ceremonial? So cacao that grows in the land where it's been for generations, that it's grown from seed, that it's been grown in food forests. So agroforestry means places that is surrounded by many other plants and trees, by herbs, by animals. There are monkeys, there are birds. So there are jungles. And then the processing. So from the way that we treat the trees, because the flower of the cacao tree absorbs our feelings, the energy that we tend to the trees. The cacao trees absorbs. Like many stories talk about the cacao tree, because it's the tree of life, is very perceptive of its surroundings, and it's gonna give and receive from it. So it's very interconnected with us. And so it's very important the energy that goes into taking care of these trees. So you could buy any cacao and you could bless it, yes, and you can add to it a blessing like you would with any food that you're blessing. Yet, for a cacao to be art, we believe, the elders and many of us working in the cacao world, ceremonial cacao will believe that for it to be ceremonial, it also needs to be taken care of by the people who are farming it, need to treat it as such, need to treat it with respect and care, and harvest it with love and intention, and ferment it in the traditional ways and process in the traditional way with intention the whole way through. And that's what makes different an organic raw cacao and a ceremonial cacao that is actually, has gone through all that care from the seed to the way that it's being processed.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that distinction. And, now we see cacao everywhere, and we see, I'm in Costa Rica, and it's like there's ecstatic dances with cacao everywhere you look. And you're educating people, and you're actually training people how to be facilitators and how to really work with this plant ally. And so, yeah, tell us a little bit about what's important when you are serving cacao. This isn't something that we want to take lightly. This isn't something that, like, we want to be respectful, and we want to understand the power of it, and really, if we're facilitating it, do it in a way that's very honoring. And so, yeah, tell us a little bit about the facilitation of cacao
Thank you.
ceremonies.
Thank you, Tanya. So we go back to love, we go back to simplicity, we go back to the origin. So cacao is a gift to us to help us connect with our heart, to help us connect with our well-being, with our wellness, with our playfulness, okay? So also we have to be conscious of the colonization that has been going on of all the medicines around the world, and how we take it from somewhere and we try to make it adaptable to us, when really the plant is perfect as it is. Okay, so people, they go and take other medicines. They don't go to the, people go do cambo, which is quite excruciating cleansing, and nobody's going like, please make it burn less, or oh, this other plant medicine like ayahuasca, oh, it tastes horrible, I can't drink it. So with cacao, to me, I'm strongly believe that to serve cacao and to call it ceremony, we need to decolonize it, and we need to take away all the ingredients from the blends. We need to take away the agave, we need to take away the tahini, we need to take away all the things that we're adding to it so that it will be palatable and more delightful. Because cacao is not here to serve that. Cacao is here to remind us of the bitter sweetness of life, to remind us that it's important to grieve and to be in the difficult just as much as we celebrate. It's like the whole human spectrum experience. And from all the plant allies, I believe cacao is the nicest, tasty one, you know? And well, rose is also quite delicious. But I think that's really important, you know, because who is anyone to say that when people pray and sing and do the directions and do the way, they're not honoring? They're honoring whatever anybody serving cacao is doing. I can't say this is how you do it honorable in their person, in their being. I can speak for the medicine themselves. And what I feel with the medicine, what they want, what they really feel is just drink me as I am. You know, I am a beautiful seed that has grown in pots. I have my specific medicine within me. Accept me as I am. Because that is what compassionate love is, right? Is to receive the other just as they are, to be like, you don't need makeup to be more beautiful. You don't need to be embellished. You don't need to. You are perfect just as you are. And so I believe that's the most important thing to serve cacao respectfully. It's to know where your cacao comes from, to be aware of the farmers that grow it, to know the story, to share that story with the people you serve in the cacao, to remember that it's about the cacao. It's not about you tasting something nice. It's about receiving that specific cacao that has gone through so many hands to get to you, that has been prayed for, it's perfect as it is. And so you drink it and you go, thank you for this medicine, and you feel the bitterness and you feel the citrus or the floral, and then the sweetness comes. And you're sitting with that, and it doesn't become about like, this cacao tastes delicious. What? It's like sugarcoating life. It's a spiritual bypassing.
That's really profound, because that is what's happening, right? It's so interesting how we don't really get what spirituality really is. It's not about just the love and the light, like that bitterness, you know, like life has struggle, life has challenges. Can we accept the dark as much as we accept the light, and that integration? And I love that that is the medicine, and that's how we truly open our hearts. It's not about closing our hearts to this stuff over here, but only open our hearts over here. How do we open our hearts to all of it? So powerful. Beautiful. I had the chills when you were speaking.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, just the simplicity of it. And you know, it's so beautiful to play. Like, I am wearing Otorongo Puma ears, you know, and it's intentional. Like I was saying with you when we first came on before we jumped on in the recording, it's like I'm wearing this because I've been working with Otorongo, that is the Puma, the panther, that is in the direction of the north in the Chacana of the heart from Ecuador, that it's the one that is in the shadows, in the darkness, the hunter, that it's patiently observing everything and walks with trust, knowing that there's nothing to fear, nothing to be scared of. And so I've been working with this within me and around me. I've been going through a big process of bereavement with the loss of my mother last year, and many things that have, you know, crumbled. So it's like working with that, and cacao has been such an ally for it. And I'm so grateful that I've always had that taste of cacao, that bitter taste of cacao from a little child. So I really understood the medicine and the deliciousness in that. And what I would love people in Europe and the rest of the world to do is to be like, I'm going to give cacao a chance to taste how they came to this world to be. And it's this feeling that I get with so many things in a planet, in nature, that we try to perfect things. We try to make it so it's more comfortable for us. And we don't realize that actually we're causing harm by doing that. And how can we come into a place of just accepting things a little bit more just as they are? Like, do we need to crank on the AC in the summer when the ozone layer is thinning? Do we need to put the heaters on at full blast in winter whilst there's so much other stuff happening in the world? So it's all about this consciousness, and it starts with your cup of cacao. And look, I'm not saying when you're at home, if you want to experiment with different plants or different flavors, it's fine when you do it for you. But when you're serving it as a medicine, as an activation, as a blessing, yeah, going back to basics, going back to that rawness, perfection of it as it is.
Yeah. We're creatures of comfort, and we want everything given to us on a silver platter and perfectly, it's like at the supermarkets, they discard any fruit that is not perfect. And we want to accept things as we want to be accepted as we are, right? So how can we start to see that, the mirror of that out there in the world?
Yeah. And to notice that the comfort is not good. That mental health is not good in the world. People have a lot of depression, and we don't have much energy, and we are now in squares all the time. I mean, I'm so grateful for technology. Technology is amazing. Is allowing us to have this. I'm not saying it's bad. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, like, we have to remember that we are also animals, that we have an animal body, that we need to be with the elements, that we need to be with nature, and that we need to just get out there more, like just be in our bodies, get into those rivers, get into those lakes. Like, we are, and I want to share something, and I'm trying to find the way to share it. I've been noticing that I'm saying quite a lot privilege. Like, I feel, because with social media and with everything that's happening in the world, everything is so instant now. Like, I know what's happening in Palestine, what's happening in Congo, what's happening in so many places. There's so much devastation and brutality going on out there, and we are so aware of it. And yet, it's like, what can I do? And what can I do is be grateful of what I have. And so it's crazy that in a way, it's a privilege that we can have this conversation right now. It's a privilege that I can drink cacao, that I can go for a walk and be safe. Like, let's not ignore that. There is suffering out there, and we are privileged to be here now. So what is the best thing that we can do then is be fully grateful for what we have, and go back to grabbing so much from everywhere, because it's that grabbing that keeps on feeding the capitalist machine, that keeps on feeding the wars, and keeps on feeding the grabbing of the whole planet. So it's, again, going back to myself, my breath, my body, wanting to be more satisfied with me. And I feel humans, the only way that we can be more satisfied with ourselves is to be with nature. And it's not so easy for everyone, because we're in this rat race in a way, in the cities, working, making money. Oh, it's insane.
Yeah. What I'm really hearing is cacao allows us to go back to our roots, to get out of that comfort, to connect with nature, to get back into our natural way of being. And that this gratitude piece, which is so connected to the medicine of cacao, of, being in the heart center, that gratitude for the privilege. And, like, I don't think we are aware of our privilege, especially you know, those of us who are in the US or, you know, in a first world country, like, what does it really mean for me to have privilege? Yeah. Thank you
Mm-hmm.
for that. Mm,
Mm-hmm. And Tanya, it's not even, but even within the US, even within Ecuador, there are people that have more privilege than others. So we have to be
absolutely.
conscious of that colonization that is still happening, how we still, how we still, yeah, it starts with ourselves. I really believe that if every human being comes to that place of compassionate love for themselves and acceptance, we want less from the outside world, and we
Yes.
have to be honest that there are people out there that don't care about that, that they just want more money and power. They are confused, they are lost, they're full of trauma, generational trauma, like God, Goddess knows what's going to come from all this hardship right now. Hopefully, people that go no more war. We don't want to repeat the pattern, but history keeps repeating. So we have to be conscious of like, okay, how do I stop history from repeating? I stop doing what the people in the past did, what the people are doing now. What are they doing? Appropriating, changing things, making it, you know, comfortable for me. But what about the other? You know? Ahimsa,
Hmm.
let's consume less, go back to basics, stop needing so much. And then
Yeah.
hopefully that will ripple out, right? That will ripple out and we'll need less, and we can maybe be a bit more peaceful in the whole planet.
Mm. Yeah. This need to consume more, to fill myself with all the things. Basically, it's to fill a void of where I'm not fully accepting myself or not fully, it's like I'm needing more to feel better about myself versus
Mhm.
connecting back with nature and finding the simplicity. I
Mhm.
mean, that's where we started this whole
Mhm.
conversation, was with the
Yeah.
simplicity.
Go
Beautiful.
back
Yeah.
to nature. Imagine if everybody who works in the city decided tomorrow no more. I'm not gonna live in a little square thing. No more. I'm gonna go back to the farms. We all just become farmers again.
Mm.
Could that change the world a little bit more? Maybe. And it's yeah, Tanya, we're going through crazy times, and I've been thinking a lot about like how can I best serve the world. And yes, Cacao Amor has been serving the world. I've been doing my best to open my heart and inspire others for over a decade. And now when I sit with Cacao and I'm like, how can I best serve you? I keep hearing the same message. Go back to the land. People, we need farmers, and not industrial farmers. We would need people growing their own food, localized food growing, localize everything. And yeah, like I don't know how else we're gonna come to a place of respect and balance with the earth unless we go back to the earth, to being with the earth. Yeah.
That's the message. I mean, look at what happened with COVID. How many people started creating backyard gardens, and a lot of people, you know, are looking at how do I be self-sustaining in case, like, is this where we're being forced? Is there some catastrophe that's going to happen, that's going to actually force me to go back to the land? We're all getting the call. How many people are saying, "Oh, you know, I just want to go buy a plot of land." There's a meme, you know, on Instagram of like, get 20 of my friends and let's go back to the land, you know. But it's like we're
Yeah.
like, but how do we do that? Are we going to be forced to do that? I mean, that's part of also the reason we went to Costa Rica, is potentially just if the retreat center falls through and the world falls apart, like, yeah, we can live off the land there.
Mhm.
So, yeah. Mm. Yeah, big questions, big energy that we're facing these days.
Mhm.
Crazy times.
Mhm. Mhm.
Hmm.
And the only thing we can do something about is ourselves,
Exactly.
right? And that's where Cacao is here to support us every day, to remind us to be like, wow, Look at the magic that had to happen. Look at the collaboration, the co-creation, the care that had to happen for me to arrive at your hands, they say, and it's like, wow, thank you. And then I drink this, and it dilates my blood vessels. It helps my lungs open up so I can breathe better. It helps me produce serotonin and dopamine and all those good compounds for my body. It gives me magnesium and protein and some iron and antioxidants and polyphenols and theobromine. It activates my brain. So it's helping like my whole body embody all these, with all these reactions in my body. Then I'm becoming that human that I can be in nature, right? And I'm going to work, and I can't go to nature, but I can have a cup of cacao, and I can have the same effects in my body as if I was in nature, plus the physical nourishment. Yeah, so perhaps that's what's coming through now. It's like, may that cup of cacao that you drink every day remind you that you are nature. Remind you that even though you have to go to the office, or even though you may have, not the opportunity to be in nature all day, that you are part of her, and inspire you to wanna be more caring to yourself, and to all beings on this planet. And when you're walking down the street, maybe you'll say hello to the roses and the nettles and the dandelions next time. It's like remembering that we are interconnected in this planet. Like, we're not just humans here, like it's many other beings who want to interact with us every day, including cacao. Yeah.
One of the things when we had you lead the cacao ceremony, one of the things that you were saying is before you're facilitating it, you want to personally work with the plant ally to see what your relationship, your personal relationship with it is like. And so what I'm hearing is, potentially having cacao as your daily practice is that what you do? Would you recommend that?
Yeah, totally. So it's it's your daily sadhana, as we say in Hinduism. Is your daily practice, is your daily devotion, is your moment. It can be any time of the day. It's that moment where like you drink cacao, and you're like, okay, how does cacao want to experience themselves through me? And how can, with this great gift that I have between my hands now, drink and then carry that into life.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and if people want to share into ceremony, sorry, to go back to that, and if you want to share in activations, we're moving away from calling cacao to calling what we do cacao ceremonies. So they're sharing the cacao before an ecstatic dance, or like drinking the cacao before a concert or sound healing or whatever. We are really to call them cacao activation, cacao blessing, but not really cacao ceremonies. Because the cacao ceremony, to me and to the elders, implies that we are sitting with cacao. So we're going to drink cacao, and we're going to be in the meditation with the cacao. The taita, the mama, the person serving the cacao is going to help us channel messages from cacao. It's going to help us move through our emotions. It's going to bring messages. We're going to maybe cry, laugh, shake. We're going to be with cacao through us, experiencing what wants to come out, being in our emotions. Is a whole process that takes at least 3 hours. That is a cacao ceremony, from what I've been receiving in terms of like how we worked with it in Ecuador and in South America. And then for the Mayan elders, for example, depending on the locality, they call cacao ceremonies different things too as well, But for example, for Taita Alejandro from a Guatemala lineage that they've been working with cacao as a medicine for 10 generations, they only have 2 cacao ceremonies a year. And what they call a cacao ceremony is when the cacao tree flowers and when they harvest the cacao. And the cacao ceremony is a ceremony for the trees. So they go, they do blessings, they sing songs for the cacao, and that's what they call a cacao ceremony. And everything else is an activation, is a healing, like I was saying. And so I feel that for people sharing cacao in the world, that don't come directly from a lineage, to call it ceremony, it's perhaps disregarding the lineage, and it's better not to do that. I think it's better to call it something else, and maybe a cacao ceremony when you're going to be with that plant, when you're going to be with cacao for hours, and it's not, you're not going to go and be distracted with anything else, but you're really in it.
Thank you for that distinction. And if you'd like to experience Deya, we're going to put that link in the show notes, and you can get the recording from when she came to Sistership Circle. And she also leads online trainings and has an upcoming retreat. So share with us a little bit before we close about about the facilitator work that you do and training people to work with this beautiful fruit. I love that. A lot of people don't know that cacao is actually a fruit.
A fruit.
It's the
Yeah.
seed from the fruit, right?
Yeah, it's the seed from the fruit, from a little flower that actually grows on the trunk of the tree rather than the branches. Yeah, the flowers grow rather than growing out of leaves, grow directly from the trunk. It's such a beautiful tree. I recommend anyone listening to this, please have a look at a photo, and then one day go visit the cacao trees. So I'm very excited about the next offering that I have coming up is in September. Big offering, because I'm doing cacao activations here in the UK and throughout the summer at festivals and so forth. But we have our Cacao Salvaje immersion, which is in Girona in Spain in September from the 11th to the 15th of September. And here we dive deep with cacao every day. So working with each of the elements, like chemical elements, water, earth, fire, air and ether. We work with an element and with cacao every day. So we're in cacao ceremony for 3 hours, and we're doing different initiations, and we're being with the land, with the elements, with the nature. We're becoming humans. We're remembering that we are in this beautiful animal body, beautiful humans, spiritual beings with an animal body, and we embody that. So it's a remembrance of all of the things that I've been sharing today, and it's an opportunity, to receive these transmissions 5 full days with me and Neva, who is my partner, who we co-create together in this retreat. And then the online course is it's again an 8-week journey where we connect with cacao and the elements, and I support people in their remembrance of that beingness of being human. Yes.
Beautiful. So we'll have those also in the show notes. We got lots of goodies, as well as a picture, a photo of the cacao fruit, so that you can see that.
Nice.
This has been so wonderful. And, this is the Brave Woman podcast, teaching women how to be brave. What does it mean for you to be a brave woman?
For me, to be a brave woman means to be powerful in my vulnerability. And to me, vulnerability is our willingness to look at our trauma and pain and alchemize it to help us expand and grow and evolve and become that human. So brave is going past all of that. It's integrating all of ourselves. Is being authentic with your expression. Is wearing cat ears if you feel like it, and being kind with yourself and with another thing. Being brave enough to slow down and to listen to how does the earth want me to live in this world, and how can I be a better daughter for her and support of humanity.
Yes.
And make art and play and be in our bodies. Be more sensual. A brave woman is a sensual woman.
Yeah. Connected to our sensuality.
With ourselves.
So in wrapping up, is there anything else that we didn't say that you just, if you were to say any final words here?
I was to say any final words. Wow, it feels big.
No pressure.
It feels big. No, it's like, this is something. Okay, I love this. This is something I share with my students, and and with people in ceremonies. It's like when it's a mantra, it's a question that really is helping me through life, and I hope it helps you. It's like, what would love do? Just have that. So any moment that you're not sure what to do, or you're getting a stress, or things are getting difficult, no matter what, or you don't know what to wear, just say, what will love do? And follow that thread, and see what happens.
So good. Always a joy and pleasure to be with you. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me, Tanya. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into the Brave Woman podcast. We'll see you next time.
You just listened to this show. I'd love for you to leave the Brave Woman podcast an honest review. Reviews help podcasts like this one grow, making it more possible for me to devote my time, energy, and money to its production. If you take a screenshot of your review and email it to support@sistershipcircle.com, we'll send you one of our archetype activations as a thank you gift. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. Up next, ever wonder how to get started with crystal bowls and other sound healing? Vicki Gold tells us all about the healing properties of sound and water in the next episode, including how it helped her body with Lyme's disease.